A Texas congressman wants to protect our land from China. This is Monday, March 17th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for spending part of it with the Texas Minute. If you enjoy the Texas Minute, please give us a rating. And if you have time, leave a review. This is the easiest way to help us help others find the show. Let's jump into today's news. A key deadline in the legislative calendar was passed this weekend, with lawmakers now no longer able to file new legislation without receiving special permission. In total, 5,600 bills have been filed in the Texas House and 3,000 in the Senate, excluding resolutions. With that deadline passed, all filed legislation is now eligible for debate and votes. Until Saturday, lawmakers could only take action on legislation designated as emergency priorities by Governor Greg Abbott or those that received the rare 4/5 approval to bypass the restriction. The Senate had wasted little time in advancing Abbott's key legislative priorities, including property tax relief, school choice, increased teacher pay, and bail reform. In contrast, the House has yet to pass a single piece of legislation. Well, speaking of legislation proposed in the Texas Senate would bring major reforms to higher education. This includes reviewing the curriculum and further clarifying the governance structure of the institutions. Authored by Republican State Senator Brandon Creighton of Conroe, the legislation would, for the first time in law, recognize faculty senates, but they would be defined as, quote, advisory only. If enacted, the law would clarify that the governing boards, that's the boards of regents, would have final authority over hiring vice presidents, provost deans, and similar leadership positions. The law would also clarify that regents have the power to overturn university administrative decisions. Creighton's proposal would also require those governing boards of regents to create a General Education Review Committee. The committee would exist to ensure that the university's core curriculum equips students with knowledge for participation in the workforce without political indoctrination. The measure would also force universities to eliminate obsolete academic minors and certificate programs that have very little participation. A science teacher in the Fort Worth Independent School District has been arrested after being caught sending sexually explicit messages to someone he believed was a 14-year-old boy. Christopher Michael Rhodes has been teaching at the Fort Worth Independent School District's Young Men's Leadership Academy. He was arrested following a sting operation. Meanwhile, Carl David Inman, a sign language teacher in the Austin Independent School District, has been arrested for possessing what law enforcement officials deemed a, quote, large quantity of child sex abuse images and videos. The Texas Minute will be right back.
Are Texans playing the lottery, or is the lottery playing Texans?
Say, make money, money, make money, money, money.
There's an old saying that says, don't put the people who caused the problem in charge of solving the problem.
I'm Daniel Greer with Texas Scorecard. This is Rigged, coming March 19th.
U.S. Representative Brandon Gill has proposed legislation prohibiting certain foreign adversaries like China from purchasing farmland nationwide. The Flower Mound Republican filed the Land and National Defense Act in Congress on Friday. Individuals, companies, and governmental entities would not be allowed to purchase U.S. land if their own countries don't allow Americans to do likewise. Gill wants the Department of Agriculture to notify members of Congress of any land acquired by a foreign purchaser in their districts, whether from a hostile or friendly country. You can find the details of this story and the others mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. Well, this edition of the Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Brandon Waltons, Valerie Munoz, Sidney Henry, Emily Medeiros, Aaron Anderson, and Luca Cacciatore. It was produced by Nick Shepard. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the first news of the day for the Lone Star State. This has been the Texas Minute with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.